Welcome to season 2 of the Making Motherhood Magical podcast, a space where we explore how to bring a little more wonder, a little more intention, and a little more presence to everyday life. I'm Jamie Mae Bright, and together we'll journey through the art of weaving magic into the ordinary to find those little sparks of joy in the daily rhythm of motherhood. This season, we're going to focus on 3 guiding intentions to create everyday magic in small and meaningful ways, to align mind, body, and soul so we feel more whole and grounded, and to cultivate presence so that we can show up more fully for our families and, just as importantly, for ourselves. Whether it's through rituals, storytelling, or simple mindful practices, this podcast is here to remind you that motherhood isn't just about getting through the day. It's about creating a life that feels rich, connected, and magical. So take a deep breath. Let yourself arrive in this moment, and let's step together into season 2 of the Making Motherhood Magical podcast. Welcome. I hope that you're as excited today as I am about starting season 2. And you say, oh, yes, why season 2? I don't know if you've noticed, but we're in a whole different place. And right now it feels like a totally different season in my life. And so I decided that since there's been a huge gap from when we moved until now, that I was just going to plow into season 2. So come with me and let's do this. Let's have a great season to take us through the rest of 2025. And today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about the autumn equinox, which is today, the day that this podcast is broadcast, is the autumn equinox. It's Monday, September 22nd. And yesterday, Sunday, September 21st, was the new moon in Virgo, but it's the second new moon in Virgo. So we're going to talk about why that's important and why it's kind of cool that we had a second new moon in Virgo. We don't usually have 2 back-to-back new moons in the same sign. So that's kind of cool. But to start off this week, I'm going to get started with the magic moment of the week. And I know that we're all really busy this time of year. School just started. We're done with Labor Day. We're kind of, settling down into the rhythm of fall. But this next week, I really want you to focus on finding a little bit of balance in your life, because with it being the equinox, it is all about balance. But this past week, my kids and I love to spend any time outside that we possibly can, whether it's in our yard or whether it's in a park or at the river or at the lake or in the mountains. That is one thing that we love about Colorado, is we love how much outside time we get on a daily basis. Even on the days when there's rain or it's too hot, there's still part of the day that's very pleasant outside. And we're having very warm afternoons, very, very cool evenings, nights, and mornings. And it's just kind of like the perfect fall feeling. So this past week, we went to one of our local parks. It's over by where we used to live. And there's always fallen branches there. And my kids have the most fun building little, we call them Naked and Afraid huts. We watch Naked and Afraid, and I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but it's basically a survival show that these people have to go out and have nothing except a bag with a knife. And I think they get a pot for water and they get a fire starter now. Those are all new. They used to not get all those things. Now they get those things. But other than that, they have no clothes. They have no shelter. They have to build everything, catch everything, kill everything, whatever they want to survive. They have to figure it out from the land. Well, my kids love building Naked and Afraid shelters. And we have one at the house, but they were dragging these branches all over the whole stinking park to make these Naked and Afraid huts. And they were also scooping up leaves. We already have leaves falling here, which is really kind of cool. And in our yard, we have a lot of leaves because we have a bunch of cottonwood trees. And so they love getting the leaves together and making these little huts. And so I join in. I'm helping them rake up leaves. And then we're building these huts together. And I crawl inside this little hut fort type thing, and it really feels like this little tiny castle. The sunlight was streaming through the branches, and everything just kind of felt like it was touched with magical fairy dust. And my little kid whispers, "It's our secret magic house." And then my older one that's still at home crowned the entrance with sticks and acorns and declared it the castle of the Leaf King. And I thought that was so stinking cute because I didn't prompt any of that. They just came up with that on their own. And inside, we all crouched together. We were surrounded by the branch walls and we were giggling as leaves kind of fell down through it on us. The air was very earthy and it just felt like autumn was coming. And these are like my favorite days right now because we're really transitioning from summer to fall. And fall is my jam, guys. I love me some fall. I love all things fall. And as I was watching the kids, I was completely absorbed in their imaginary world. And I realized that the real magic wasn't in the leaves or the branches or even in the little hut itself. It was in their imagination, it was in their laughter, and it was just something ordinary had really become extraordinary for all of us. By the time we tumbled out of their hut, we had leaves stuck in our hair and stuck in our jackets, and we ran through the park, just tossing leaves like confetti. And it reminded me that magic doesn't have to be far away and it doesn't have to be complicated, that sometimes it's just right here beneath our feet, waiting for us to see it through the eyes of a child. So that was our magic moment this week. So I hope that as you go through your week, you can find just a little tiny piece of magic with either your spouse, your child, yourself, a coworker, just something that, turns the muggle into the magic. Just look for it. And I think you'll be surprised at how many different ways magic manifests itself in our daily lives. And that's all I challenge you to do this week is find your own magic moment and feel free to share it either in the comments or on my email. I'll leave my email link. But just look for the magic and you will find it. You really will. So, as I mentioned, this is our second new moon in Virgo. And the second new moon in the same sign during a lunar cycle is often called a black moon. It's considered rare and significant in both astrology and spiritual practice. And since we're seeing a new moon in Virgo, our second new moon in Virgo, this is what it means. There's rare alignment. Normally, we only get one new moon in a zodiac sign per year. When two fall in the same sign, it intensifies the themes of that sign, like the universe pressing repeat to make sure that we really integrate the lessons. So, as I pulled our moon cards from the Moonology Manifestation Oracle cards, these are by Yasmin Boland, and she has several different Moonology decks and books. This manifestation deck happens to be my favorite. I really like the art for it. I really like the way that you can make a sentence for the lunar cycle. So after we talk a little bit about the new moon in Virgo, we will go through the sentence for the next 4 weeks. But Virgo's themes are organization, healing, health, routines, service, and refining details. So all of those things are supercharged energies. So like the second new moon is kind of like a booster round for your intentions that you set during the first Virgo new moon. So if you didn't set any intentions for the last Virgo new moon, it is not too late. We are repeating this whole cycle again. And the only one that changes the sign in the whole lunar cycle is the third quarter. Last cycle's third quarter. The last quarter was in Gemini, and this time it has moved on into Cancer. But our first quarter moon and our full moon are both in the same sign as the last lunar cycle. And so it really is kind of like hitting rewind and repeat. We're going through the same energies we did last month, except now we're integrating them even deeper. So organization, healing, health, routine, service, and refining details. Those are the kind of things to focus on for your intention this month. The first Virgo new moon opened the door, and the second one pushes you to master what you've already started, asking you to embody Virgo qualities with more precision and more clarity. So, as you go through these same energies this month, remember that it's like kick punching the same thing over again. Um, Spiritually, the black moon often symbolizes a time of deep reset, hidden wisdom, and shadow work. In Virgo, this could mean uncovering hidden patterns in your health, your work habits, your self talk, or boundaries. And then finally clearing those patterns. So look at your health. Look at how you're taking care of your body. Look at your work habits. How are you performing at work? How are you interacting with other people at work? How are you talking to yourself? Self talk is so important. And we often really beat ourselves up. Virgos are very critical, I guess is the best way to put it. They're very critical. They want everything to be perfect and they want to nourish things. So really, really nourish yourself with the words that you're feeding yourself. And this month, that Virgo energy will really carry you through that theme. So refine your old intentions, revisit what you set during the first Virgo new moon, adjust, clarify, and recommit. Declutter and purify. Virgo loves cleaning and cleansing. So whether that's your physical space, your daily habits, or even your diet, really look at what you can shed in the next 4 weeks. What can you get rid of? What can you declutter? What can you make more streamlined and more pure? Also, focus on healing. It's extra potent for healing rituals, for journaling, and for setting intentions around wellness. So, really look at how you are taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, and taking care of your spiritual health, because all of those things really thrive in this Virgo energy. So, think of the second Virgo new moon as Virgo saying, you've started this work. Now let's get serious, let's go deeper, and let's refine it until it truly serves us. So, this is the sentence for this lunar cycle. The new moon in Virgo says, trust, all will be well. The Sagittarius first quarter moon says, believe in your good luck. The full moon in Pisces, which is also a harvest moon, says, forgive. And the last quarter moon in Cancer says, take a breather. So our sentence is, trust all will be well, believe in your good luck, forgive, and take a breather. So after the second round of that Virgo energy, we're going to be able to take a deep breath into Cancer third quarter and just really enjoy how we've reset during this lunar cycle. So we will get more into that next week. We will cover the first quarter moon in Sagittarius a little bit more, but just know that we have a mulligan this month. We get to redo what we already did, and we get to reset everything, and we get to cleanse and clear and all of that good stuff. So with that, we also are going to be talking about the equinox and how we can celebrate the autumn equinox with our kids. So I really am excited because the equinox to me is so magical. It is when we are approximately equal with day and night. It happens twice a year around March 20th and around September 22nd. It's the moment when the sun crosses the celestial equator, which is the imaginary line that goes out into space from the Earth's equator. So as the sun crosses this line, day and night are nearly equal all over the world. Equinox comes from the Latin equus, meaning equal, and nox, meaning night. So equinox, equal night. It happens because the Earth is tilted about 23.5 degrees on its axis as it orbits the sun. During most of the year, one of the hemispheres tilts toward the sun, getting longer days, while the other tilts away from the sun, getting shorter days. On the equinox, the Earth's tilt is positioned so that neither hemisphere is leaning toward or away from the sun. On the equinox, the earth tilted in that position, and the sun rises exactly due east and sets exactly due west for nearly everyone on earth. That is a magical balance all in of itself. So just imagine the sun's path in the sky intersecting the Earth's equator, projected into space, which is called the celestial equator. And as I said, the equinox is the exact point when the sun crosses this line, heading northward in March and heading southward in September. So we have been celebrating the autumn equinox, well, the equinoxes, for thousands of years. It is where the day and night stand in balance. Cultures around the world have long honored this turning of the seasons. The equinox is more than just an astronomical event. It's a moment of deep human meaning. For the Celts, this time of year is marked by the second great harvest. We now call it Mabon, but that is a very modern term. That actually kind of became popular in the 70s. And I read this article the other day about the author that named it Mabon, and they actually kind of apologized for it because it doesn't coincide with the story of the equinox. So I kind of think it's funny that we call it Mabon, but you can call it the equinox. That's what I call it. But it was a season of gratitude. It was a season where they were gathering apples and grains and grapes, sharing feasts with the community. It was a moment of balance, just like the equal day and night. People gave thanks for what the earth had offered and also reflected on what needed to be released, letting go as the year turned towards its darker half. The Norse celebrated what's called Hausblot. In the North, the Norse honored the season with Hausblot and autumn sacrifice. Families and communities gathered for ritual feasting, thanking the gods and spirits for the harvest. Freyr, the god of fertility, and Odin, the Allfather, were called upon to bless the months ahead as both a joyful celebration and a solemn preparation. As animals were cold, food was stored, and the people readied themselves for the long, cold winter. So you have to remember the Norse are very far north into Europe. They're even further north than England. And England and Scotland are pretty stinking dark and cold. But everyone was preparing and celebrating the second harvest, the first harvest being Lugnasta, that was in August, and the third harvest is Samhain, which is also known as Halloween now. So this is kind of that middle in between the turning of the season. And it really is a time of balance and a time of gratitude. The Greek, they had the illusion mysteries. In Greece, autumn carried the myth of Demeter and Persephone. As Persephone descended into the underworld, the crops withered and the world slipped into quiet winter. This story was central to the illusion mysteries, sacred rites that promised renewal and rebirth. The equinox mirrored this duality of life above and life below, light and darkness, harvest and bareness. And it reminded the people that endings and beginnings were always intertwined. So as the wheel of the year turns into its next season, we pause for just a moment to really honor that balance between the light and the dark on the autumn equinox today. Across indigenous traditions of North America, the equinox is often honored with harvest ceremonies. Corn, beans, squash, the three sisters, were gathered and celebrated with song, dance, and prayer. These ceremonies are a time of deep gratitude to the earth and the spirits for sustenance, and a reminder of the sacred balance between people and the natural world. The equinox is not just the turning of a season, but the turning of a cycle, asking us to live in harmony with all that surrounds us. So whether we look at the Celtic harvest feast, the Norse blots, the Greek mysteries, or indigenous ceremonies, the equinox has always been a reminder of balance, of gratitude, and of preparing for what is to come. As the light and dark stand equal, we too are invited to pause, give thanks, and honor the cycles that shape our lives. So, some of the themes to broken down a little easier so that kids can understand it: the balance, letting go, harvest, and gratitude are all things that kids can wrap their heads around. So you might use like a scale or a balancing of the day and night as like a visual for the kids to understand really what balance is, because balance is hard. Kids are really unhinged a lot of the time. So having something that they can relate to that relates to the balance of the seasons is really, really awesome. It's super easy to create simple rituals for children. One thing that you could do is lighting a candle in honor of balance of light and dark. We can go on nature walks together and gather leaves and acorns and pine cones. And actually, I made a family fall activity sheet that I will put also the link in the comments. But on here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a nature scavenger hunt listed. There's that candle ritual that I spoke of. This is talking about gratitude and just some simple crafts. And then there's a second page to it that has kitchen magic, some reflection and mindfulness activities with kids, and some simple journal prompts that are great for adults and kids alike. So please feel free to download this 2-page PDF. It is for y'all to use and have fun with your family. So, a gratitude circle is a great thing. And that's one of the activities on that sheet. A gratitude circle, everyone sits in a circle and shares something that they're thankful for. And I think this is a great practice to have all the time, not just for now, but it is a great thing to do for this season. Some craft ideas: you could do leaf rubbings. You could make mobiles with the sun and the moon and like have it balanced, like have a stick with little ribbons or little strings, and have a sun and a moon and make it so where you hold it in the middle that it's balanced between the two. That would be a fun craft. You could also practice balancing scales. Scales are really fun. I don't know if you have a scale, but we have a triple beam balance scale that is really fun. And the kids love just weighing things and balancing, the little chingus of things that go back and forth to weigh it. They love that. What else? You could also do balanced stones. Our local lake has a lot of good stones around it to do balance stones with. And I'm not really good at it, but I'm going to tell you, all over the great state of Colorado, there are people that love doing balance stones. And I love coming up on a trail or like one of my favorite camping spots to see that somebody else took the time to do the balance stones, because I am not really great at it, but I really do enjoy them. You could also do a seasonal altar or table. And this doesn't have to necessarily be a religious thing whatsoever. It can be as simple as adding some gourds, apples, colorful leaves, little pumpkins, a candle, or a bowl of water. All of those things can be part of the autumn experience and part of this balanced feeling that we really need to focus on for the equinox. And you can also story tell with your kids, read some myths, read some harvest tales, or create your own family equinox story. Go out and balance stones together and talk about how y'all all worked together and everyone added a stone and everyone had it balanced. That would be a fantastic story to then be able to tell for many years to come, not just this year. Another great way to celebrate the equinox is through seasonal foods and feasting. Cooking with kids is always super, super high up on my list of things to do. I think that when you involve kids in cooking, not only do they become cooks themselves, but they gain a sense of self-worth and of like self-sufficiency. So like, say we are going to make apple slices and we're going to put cinnamon and sugar on top of them. I can teach them how to safely cut an apple, how to safely mix together some cinnamon and sugar with intentions and then sprinkle them on top for abundance or good luck or protection, however you want to use it. And then the next time they just want a snack, I can be like, hey, remember how we made those apple slices with cinnamon and sugar? And then they'll do it all on their own. So it's like a total win for mom because they just made their own snack, but it's a total win for them because they just made their own snack. Like embodying them with the tools to provide for themselves is so important. And cooking is such an easy way to add that independence and that confidence in your kids' lives. Um, One of my favorite things to do during the fall season, which it's usually closer to Samhain, but when we carve our pumpkins, my 11-year-old absolutely adores roasted pumpkin seeds. And so that has kind of been one of our things. And last year we experimented, which I was not sure how this was going to turn out, but she loves salt and vinegar flavored anything. And so we made salt and vinegar flavored pumpkin seeds. So after I took them out of the pumpkin, I literally soaked them in salt and vinegar water. And I let them soak overnight. And then I salted them again and roasted them. And they ended up so stinking good that she took them for snack at school and shared them with her friends for probably 2 weeks. They ate on pumpkin seeds and they loved it. And she got to feel proud of taking a snack that her friends wanted to munch on to school that was something better than blue Takis, which is what everybody's eating at school these days. Um, you can also teach through food. You can talk about the harvest cycle, talk about how, apples grow, how pumpkins grow, how squashes grow. And we can always share blessings that we feel like we have in our life before we have a meal. A lot of people like to pray before their meal. I like for everyone to find something that they're grateful for. I think gratitude practice is so important and it's so important to teach our kids. So I definitely think that sharing blessings before a meal is a great way to really ground everyone and really just have a gratitude practice that everyone can participate in. Um, Mabon is also known as the witch's Thanksgiving. And so you could have a Thanksgiving feast and have each family member make something that represents what they are grateful for. So I I love squash casserole, and this is the time of year that I will bust out some yellow squash from my garden. Except this year I didn't have a garden, but usually I have a garden and I have yellow squash and green squash. And now is a great time to take that squash that I've possibly usually it's already at the same time. And so if I cut it up into pieces and put it into freezer bags and vacuum seal them, I have that squash to enjoy throughout the winter and not just in the summer. Some people like to jar it. I think it gets slimy, but I do like to freeze it. If you blanch it just a little bit before you freeze it, it freezes better. But I love a good squash casserole. So that might be something that I decided to bring to our witches Thanksgiving. So you can really, anything that you would have at Thanksgiving, you can have at Mabon. So just think turkey and pumpkin pie. And at our house, if you don't have mashed potatoes, it's not the holidays, according to my husband. So mashed potatoes are another one. I like sweet potatoes personally. I think they're a little bit more fall fun, but you could, anything that means something to your family, you can make and share with each other. Um, Other ways to celebrate this time of year with magical things for your kids is get outside. Watch the sunset together as a family. I know where we live, there is a really cool place that's called, I think it's called Independence Point, or maybe it's called Freedom Point. It's some patriotic point, but it is above our reservoir, our lake, and it faces west. So you can watch the sunset. And it's just a little tiny walk. I wouldn't even call it a hike. It's really like a walk from a parking lot just down a little sidewalk. But you can look out over the whole reservoir and you can watch the sunset and you can feel the breeze. And it's a really cool tradition to do, especially now that it's not so hot in the evening. So find somewhere near you that's just a cool place to watch the sunset, because when you look for it, you'll find it and it will be fantastic. Another fun outdoor thing to do this time of year, since leaves are falling, especially here, they fall in all different colors, is make a leaf mandala. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. It's super easy, but just you get matching leaves and acorns and sticks and twigs and whatever you want, and just literally make a mandala out in your yard of these things that you gather that fall is providing for us. You can also, now is the time of year to plant bulbs. So if you wanted to plant daffodils or tulips, even garlic, right now is a great time to plant garlic. And garlic is a great protectant of your yard. So not just against pests, but against, you know, bad mojo. Plant some garlic along your fence line and it will act as a protectant for your property. When you plant those bulbs, you also can honor future growth, because we're going to put them in the ground now, but we're not going to see them until February or March. And so that's really a cool way to set an intention. Seeds are a great way too, but bulbs, I love bulbs in the fall. So now is a great time to plant bulbs. Um, Play and explore in nature. Like I said before, have a nature scavenger hunt. Find something red, find something fallen, find something smooth, find, find an acorn, find you know, let's see which ones I put on here. I put find a leaf that's changing color, find an acorn, pine cone, or seed, find something that reminds you of the sun, find something that reminds you of the night. And those are all fun things because you can interpret them however you want. There's no wrong way to have a scavenger hunt, and kids have so much fun doing it. Another fun thing that we love to do, we do it more in the summer when we're camping, but I love to do it in the fall also, is build a new fairy house. If you built a fairy house at midsummer, give it a little sprucing up, put some things back, add some things, maybe, put some citrine in there, or maybe put some carnelian to represent the sun, whatever brings you joy. But yeah, give your fairy house a little spiffing up and, a little fall makeover. It's fun. And the kids love that. Another thing to do when you're outside is teach about balance through nature. Compare day and night, compare light and shadows, compare warm breezes and cool breezes. Now is the time of year that we're experiencing the duality of everything. We're experiencing some growth and some death. We're experiencing some light and some dark. So really focus on how you can see the seasons balancing through the natural world around us. Another great thing to do is have some reflection and some mindfulness with your kids. Have a mindful moment. For example, you could do a short guided breathing with kids, breathing that imagining that you're breathing in the sunlight and breathing out the starlight. So, for example, you could be like, all right, let's cozy up and sit up tall and let's put our hands on our belly and close your eyes if you want to. Now take a big, slow breath in and imagine that you're breathing in a warm, golden sunlight. Feel it filling up your chest. Feel it filling up your arms, your torso, your legs, all the way to your toes and all the way to the top of your head. Just imagine as you breathe in that you are breathing in all of the energy of the sun. And now slowly breathe out and imagine that you're sending out soft, sparkling starlight. See it twinkling as it floats into the sky around you. Let's try it again. Breathe in the sunlight, filling you with warmth and energy. And breathe out starlight, sending calm and peace into the world. One more time, big breath in. Sunlight shining inside you. Slow breath out. Starlight drifting all around. When you're ready, open your eyes Notice how your body feels, warm like the sun and calm like the stars. And it just takes a second. I also like doing those kind of breathing activities and exercises when my kids are like stressing out about something. My 11-year-old is kind of one of those emotionally volatile children that everything is the biggest deal ever. And so this is a great breathing exercise to help her focus on something other than the freak out. So I'm a big believer in breath work, and anything that you can put into a breathing visualization is going to help your child regulate their own emotions. And that's so important. Emotional regulation is way underrated in children. When you have emotionally unregulated children, you have emotionally unregulated adults. And teaching them how to regulate, and self soothe is so important because it helps them feel confident in their own bodies and in their own minds. So, big, big proponent of any kind of breath work with kids. Another great way to have some reflection time and some mindfulness with your kids is journaling, especially for older kids. I like doing journaling for all ages kids because one, it helps them with their writing skills when you're not putting a grade on it and you're not, it's not something that's necessarily schoolwork per se. They can have more fun with it. Maybe they just draw a picture. Maybe they don't write words. Or if they write words, it doesn't matter if they're spelled right or wrong. And just let them do their thing and don't criticize anything that they put down on the paper because journaling is for getting everything out. It is not for criticizing what you put down. So, some journal prompts like, what am I grateful for? Or what is something that I can let go, like the falling leaves, are good ways to reflect and be mindful with our kids. So, another way that I like to celebrate this time of year with my family is through some sort of ritual. And this one is really geared towards the Virgo new moon and the autumn equinox together, since we're doing them like the energy is intertwined. The new moon Sunday, the equinox is Monday, and we're technically still in the new moon. You're going to go outside, you're not going to see the moon. If you do, you're going to barely see it. And so, yeah, those two energies are really meshed together. So, one of the things that you can do is do this ritual, and I will put an outline for it also I'll make another little PDF like this for the ritual. But the first thing you're going to want to do for this ritual is to set the space together. Let everyone help tidy up one small area. Maybe it's a toy bin. Maybe it's like the entryway table. Maybe just somewhere that y'all can all tidy up together and light a candle. Or if you want to use like one of those battery, like the Dollar Tree has little candles that just click on the bottom. It could be a tea light or it could be a little pillar candle, however you want to do it. If you want to use an electric candle, not a problem. But as you light it, say we make this space calm, cozy, and ready for new beginnings. Then sit in a circle with your family and make an earth connection. You could pass around a small bowl of soil, a stone, or a leaf, something from the earth. And as each person holds it, say something that they want to grow in their life, like they want to grow kindness or they want to grow patience. Or maybe if you're a mom, you want to grow better sleep or more friendship. And maybe dad wants to have better health. But as you hold the earthen object, state what it is that you want to grow. Then do a simple journaling or drawing. Adults write down one intention. Kids draw a picture of something they'd like more of, like maybe draw a sun for more energy or a heart for more love or a book for more learning, etc. And then if they're comfortable, share them with each other. Your family, you should be comfortable. But I know sometimes kids get real embarrassed of like their innermost thoughts. So if they don't feel comfortable, don't force them into sharing, but encourage them into sharing. Then give each family member a seed, and we're going to have these be a seed of intention. So it could be a sunflower seed, could be a little bean, it could even be a popcorn kernel, just any kind of little seed. And it doesn't have to necessarily be one that you plant, although it could be. Like I love planting sunflowers this time of year because when you put the seeds in the ground, then they're ready to do their thing when spring comes and you don't even have to think about it. So I love sunflower seeds for this. But have your child and your spouse, if you have one, hold it, the seed, and whisper their wish or intention into the seed. Then place the seeds in a jar, cup, or small dish of earth, or if possible, plant them later outdoors or in a pot. So you're going to set your intention in your seed and you're going to plant that seed. Then you're going to blow a kiss of gratitude towards the candle or light together. And we're going to say, we plant our dreams with love. We watch them grow with care. This simple ritual really hammers down on the themes of cleansing, grounding, healing, and practical growth, but it does it in a way that makes it more tangible for kids. So it really comes together in a simple way that they can show what they're grateful for. They can show their appreciation for this new season of not really growth yet, but the season that's coming to an end and these seeds are being planted for things that we want to grow through the next 6 months, through this dark half of the year. Because once we get past the equinox, then we're going to have a couple more minutes every day of darkness instead of lightness. So we're going to be going into our dark half of the year. And that's when seeds really, they're in the ground, they're waiting dormant, and they're ready with our love and our intention and our care to grow into something fantastic next year. So it's taking what we've harvested from this season and spreading it into the next season. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. I hope that you want to do that ritual with your kids. Don't forget to check out the PDFs that I have attached in the comments. And really focus this week on the magic of balance. Focus on gratitude, focus on what you can harvest in your life right now, and focus on making a connection with nature this week. Share a quick family activity, such as the lighting the candle, taking a nature walk, or cooking something seasonal. I really encourage you to tag and share your Equinox celebrations. So just hashtag Making Motherhood Magical podcast, or you can share it in the comments, or you can follow the email link and share it to me. And if you share it in the email, I would love to share it on the podcast. I will read it out to the audience. So I hope everybody goes into this week with a little bit more balance and a little bit more love. And before we end this episode, I do want to grab a card really quick. This is the Mabon Oracle by the Season of the Witch, Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz. If you've been around for a little while, you know that these are one of my favorite series of Oracle cards. So we're starting to get into the fall. We've got some crows and we've got orange, and these are beautiful orange foil on the side. But let's draw one of the cards from this Mabon deck and see what we're going to focus on this week during this season of equinox. All right. Haunted House, number 22. It says the things that haunt you are the things you have to let go of. So let's read a little bit more detail. Let me get the book out. All right. Keywords are unsettled issues and a need to let go or clean house. Your higher self chose this card because a person or situation from your past is preventing you from experiencing the bliss that is waiting for you once you clear this energy from your orbit. You might see the energy of this card manifest in an ex who continues to come back into your life whenever it's convenient for them to do so. Perhaps you are loyal to a friend who's not loyal to you in return. And despite how many times you've been burned, you continue to support them when they call, right? That relates. You might be staying with an employer who doesn't value you or your ideas. And so you feel as though your talent is being overlooked and wasted. Choosing to let go of what brings you pain is a critical form of self care. Haunted house prompts you to examine the people and areas in your life that make you feel trapped, afraid, abandoned, hurt, and confused. These situations may trigger something within you, and when you're blended with these emotional bombs, you may be blinded to the exit. The door might have been right in front of you the entire time, but you're experiencing an illusion that has led you to believe there is no escape. And maybe you have taken on the role of healer and believe it's your job to change the actions of others. It is not. It is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to your own healing and well being. Even though it may be painful, taking steps to set boundaries with others provides a healing pathway for them as well. By letting go, you are choosing not to enable their behaviors and you are shining a light on their shadows. You very well could be the healer after all, simply by taking steps to heal yourself. So let go of those ghosts. See that ghost in the mirror? Let her go. Let go of these things that you're holding on to that haunt you. So this week, let's go into our season of Mabon with that in our hearts, that we're going to let go of one thing that does not serve us anymore. So thank you so much for joining me today on the Making Motherhood Magical podcast. I hope you leave feeling inspired to find the moments of magic, to nurture your mind, body, and soul, and to be more present with your family and yourself. Be gentle with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and I can't wait to step into the next magical moment with you. Until next time, I am Jamie Mae Bright, and I challenge you to make magic every day. Until next week, have a great week.